I'm Sally Brown. I'm a SEDA Senior Fellow. I was one of the first tranche of fellows, so I've been doing my CPD every year since basically the scheme began. Every year when it's time to do it, I think, oh God, what an awful chore, and I really don't want to get down to doing it. Most years I do it on time. This year I did it about 6 months late. But for me, although it feels like a chore before I start it, every time I finish it, I think this is one of the really big benefits of being a SEDA Fellow. How I start off is I start thinking about what I've done since the last time I did it. And when I remember, I look at last year's. It's actually quite interesting not to look at last year's because very often I find the same themes are continuing, like I have decided I'm going to do less paid for work or whatever. Anyway, so what I tend to do is I tend to think of my achievements in various ways, what kind of work I'm doing, what kind of publications I'm working on. I try to make sure, now I'm end of career, that I do quite a lot of mentoring, and I try and go through those various headings and I think about what I've learned and what I've done, and what my challenges have been and what the delights have been. So I sit at my computer and I normally set aside about an hour, hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, and I think I'm going to do this in one shot. So I don't agonise about it, I put the headings up, I start writing things, and then very often what I'll then do is look back to last year and see what I wrote last year, and then I think, oh yes, I was going to talk about it, and oh yes, I actually achieved that. The sense of achievement once I've done it, first of all, it's another chore off my list, but secondly, the real joys for me are about thinking, yes, I am still growing, I am still developing, and the very fact that SEDA makes me do it annually is, if you like, a discipline and a framework for my reflection that I find really valuable. In the end, if we are going to be educational developers, if we are going to be reflective practitioners, if we are going to ask other people to do it, we have to do it ourselves. Not necessarily in minute detail, not necessarily highly meticulously, but actually we have to do it honestly and sensitively and thoughtfully. And it's that thoughtfulness that sometimes is the highest benefit to me.